It's a great time to be a sports fan. From football playoffs to high school hockey thrillers, the action never stops. Win or lose, make game day unforgettable with Old Southern Barbecue. Sink your teeth into tender ribs, saucy wings, or a mouth-watering brisket sandwich. Do game day right with Old Southern Barbecue. Visit one of their 4 metro locations or get your party catered. Either way, they've got you covered. Old Southern Barbecue, where game day tastes better. Are you looking for a dedicated partner for your lacrosse needs? ES Lacrosse has got you covered. If you're brand new to the game, a seasoned vet, or a dedicated lacrosse parent, ES Lacrosse is the go-to partner for Minnesota lacrosse and DTA Nation. Whether you need new gear, a restringing of your current setup, custom uniforms or apparel for your team, or one of their awesome starter sets for your brand new lacrosse player, the selection, expertise, and service at ES Lacrosse is unmatched. You can visit them in store at one of their 3 metro locations in Woodbury, Chanhassen, and Vadnais Heights, or visit them online at eslacrosse.com.
And welcome to Down the Alley. This is PMAC.
And Katie.
No Ted tonight, as we had to move some schedules around, still wrapping up the holidays at the time of this recording. So no Ted tonight, but we've got a massive guest. If you're a fan of girls lacrosse, if you're a fan of Minnesota girls lacrosse, if you're a player, if you're a parent, you may have even ran into this person directly or indirectly. So that's my teaser. That's my teaser for the guest tonight. Massive guest. Super excited that we're having her on. So that's all on the guest. But Katie, any rants, any conversations that we've had, any topics that you need to get off your chest. Ted and I have had a couple. I think, maybe last episode you were off and we get the rants going. So how about you for the people? If not, I've got one for you to tee you up. Not even a rant, but a topic. But what are you thinking about these days?
I think it's been a while since I've recorded a podcast, to be honest. I think it's been like a month. But if you've got one ready to go, I think then that's I think we should start with that one.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm chuckling because I've been watching Frasier, my favorite show.
It is your favorite show.
And it's so funny because this just makes me feel like his radio show right now. It's not anything close to that, but it's kind of funny. It's kind of reminding me that of right now.
No, I could see the connection there. So, because I know I've had mothers of players, come up to me after you've talked about this on the podcast. So, new year, new planner.
I was going to say new you.
No, not new me. I'm still PMAC. PMAC's not going anywhere. A new planner. Last year I got a little one. I know you've got your 3. Whatever.
2. I have 2 this year.
2 this year. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, again, there's a couple other lacrosse, maybe wives, that we've had these not me. I haven't been a part of the conversations, but people have tried to come up to me and talk to about. I'm like, go talk to Katie. I have no clue. So some of our listeners thoroughly enjoy this topic. New planner, new me. I kind of like the vibe of this planner. I know you looked at it.
That was a good one.
I started filling it up. It's keeping it kind of sort of together. So it's kind of it's a little. Last year the planner I was using rigid. Get your crap done, whatever you put on. This one's like, hey, let's keep it sort of together this year, which is not me really. If I'm gonna write it down, I think it's gonna get done. I'm gonna try to.
They say that's true. They say if you write it down, it's more likely to get done.
Yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, that was a good find.
I'm trying to tee you up.
Noble. I have a lot of thoughts in the planner world. This is something new to me that I've kind of gotten 2 new things this year. One, I used to be strictly like, I actually loved using like an academic planner out post college. I mean, like up until like maybe 2019, and I graduated college in 2011. Like I haven't been a student in like a long time. And I still loved to use an academic planner, which was September through May. Like you would get your planner in September and you would start it September of the year that it was. And it would go through all the way of August the following year.
It's a little
And in
weird as an
some
adult, I feel
I
like.
know, because somehow in my head, and quite honestly, that still kind of makes sense in my head. Like the new year starts in September. And so I feel like I'm still adjusting to like the calendar year. Cause I mean, even with like club
Hey,
lacrosse,
as
like that
a
kind of
coach,
started,
yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
kind of started September kind of starts our year. So that kind of always made the most sense to me. Since like 2021, I haven't used an academic planner, which is fine. Um, but you went with an undated planner, which I thought that was just ludicrous.
It's a little,
And
yeah, it's a little weird in that regard.
I
That'd be my
recently,
only
one of my
critique.
planners, yeah, so one of my planners this year is an undated planner, and I've learned to love it for work because obviously in August, there's no coaching. So I don't really need August, but like in January through March, we have really heavy schedules. In April, May, and June, we have really heavy schedules. And so like you kind of need sometimes more space, sometimes not. So like it'll be really interesting if you like that or not. My day-to-day planner I bought I think back in October for this January. So I've had this planner for like a good quarter
You've been waiting, you've
already.
been sitting on it.
Um, I've changed the layout. I was using one layout, a horizontal layout, and I've gone to a different layout, and so I haven't quite dove into that yet. So I'll report back because it's definitely different. Something I think in the planner world, they talk about a lot is like memory keeping, which is kind of like it's kind of like a lazy scrapbook, essentially. Like some of my bloggers that I follow of scrapbooking, like or planning, they take a planner like yours and like write journal entries or like post a picture in it, like or tape a picture in it, and kind of like it's kind of lazy scrapbooking. And that was something that I did with my old planner, but now I've changed layout, so I can't really do that anymore. And so I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. But Erin Condren, Laurel Denise, they're my two favorites. They're not cheap, but I track everything. I don't know, I like it.
You don't
You
look at price
you've
tags, so
I
why do you
don't look
care?
at
Yeah.
price tags. What do you like about yours so far? You have a soft bound, which is something I know I don't like. Like I like a spiral on the side, and you kind of did a soft bound one. But what I do like that yours has some like guided prompts.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
I like a good guided prompt. So the undated thing, like if you're gonna buy it on Jan 1st, which I did, like I feel like it shouldn't be undated. Um, and I hate that I have to like put the numbers in and I have terrible handwriting. So
You could buy stickers.
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have some. You
What
can
do I
try
like about,
stickering it.
I like the vibe of it. It's kind of, it's a little more fun. Um,
It's cheeky.
it's got colors.
Yeah,
You can put your goals in it, top goals, kind of sorta, top goal. Everything's kind of sorta, which again,
yeah.
that's a little, it's kind of fun, keeps it loose, but
You
again,
keep yours pretty like high level scope. Like you don't get into like the nitty gritty of like at 6 a.m. I'm doing this. At 12 I'm
I
taking
would disagree.
lunch.
Yeah, okay.
You kind of do more of a broad level of like the weekly plan.
Yes and no. So like I do get in the weeds of like again because I've got a lot of coaching. Not this time of year, necessarily, but like PLAY, 9 to 10.
Right.
Prior Lake, whatever.
Right.
I've got the Vikings game, 7 p.m. And that made the
I thought it was
cut.
at 7:15.
Well, it's technically 7:20, but
Oh.
whatever.
So yeah, but
So
some people like time block. This isn't something that I've gotten into, but I think it's more of like the digital planning world of like time blocking of like wake up. You give yourself your 15-minute wake up.
Mm.
You have like your drive to the gym. Then you're like,
They're writing everything like that down.
Get to the gym, get to the locker room, work. Like, yeah, that's some.
I would need a bigger planner. I think you've got a bigger plan. There's not enough room. Like
so that's
I guess
like an hourly scope. Like I don't think we track our hourly day to day. I mean, maybe when we coach, but again, that's only a couple months of the year.
So, this isn't big enough. Like I would need.
Right. Is it big enough to use now? Yeah.
Like if I wanted to break down each hour of the day, like there's 3 days on this one little page. So okay, so is that a different planner?
That's a thing. Yeah, you have a weekly planner. They have like a daily.
Okay, so that's a completely different planner. Okay.
I think that would be overwhelming. It doesn't seem like you.
Doesn't seem like me?
No.
I don't think so
I don't
either.
even do that.
Because my day-to-day, you never know. Like if I tried to like do you've seen my work, it might be a slow hour, and then
once you're at work, you're at work. Like,
so you don't need to remember to
work?
But
like
lunch,
you don't need to remember.
I don't know when I'm going to eat lunch. Like I could be on a call.
You're right.
Things could.
So that's
get
why
weird.
it's like roughly once you get to work.
Okay, but okay. I'm going to push back.
I'm
going to push back on this. If you're doing the minute, that by the hour, by the second thing, you better have that. You can't get loose with it. Like if you're a person like that.
I agree. I don't know. None of my people have like an hourly layout. The people I follow in the planning world, none of them use an hourly layout. Like maybe one day you do.
Yeah.
Which I have a sticker for that too.
It's like a crazy day and it's going to be crazy.
And like I have a sticker that you can just put in, like again, a heavy coaching day where you're like, I got to stop here in between. And then we have this, then we have this, and we have this. Like,
and you want to make sure you cut out enough time to get your, let's just say espresso martini, not espresso martini.
No, your nitro,
your nitro cold brew.
Right. I don't know, but some of that is just like, use your brain.
A little bit.
Right?
Like
I don't like if I know I'm gonna have to leave at a certain time.
But if you write it down, what do they say?
Yeah,
it gets
you're
done.
Gonna remember. It does. So my favorite things, like I like a weekly spread because I think my list making, most of my list making is like, I know I need to get it done at some point this week. I don't have really heavy day deadlines. Whereas like some people might with like their work. I don't know. And it'd be really interesting if people have like household day deadlines. I'm thinking like housework. Like obviously like kids have like activities and stuff.
Hey,
but like,
all the memes are like for adults, as kids missing your forgetting to turn in your homework or not doing your homework. For adults, that's not getting your garbage and recycle out at the end of the driveway on whatever your day is.
I haven't seen that one.
That's a good one.
How mad do we get when we don't get the garbage out?
Ruins your week.
Mostly, how mad do I get when you don't put the garbage out?
I'm not happy
I'm mad before you admit that you didn't get it out.
That is one of my few chores, and so there's no excuse. We got garbage. Okay. Enough planner talk. Let's get back to maybe something more lacrosse related. So let's talk a little bit of food. What food? Because we just got off of a little birthday trip for you. What was your favorite bite on the trip?
My gateway drug is pasta. It always has been. Like, I liked buttered noodles before buttered noodles became a thing. Like, I just live and die by it. And that's like my gateway drug. If I start eating pasta at home, it's a slippery slope for me. So we did, in fact, go to Italian on my birthday. And I might have had one of the best bites of food I've ever had in that meal. And it was very simple. But nonetheless, very delicious. and we went to a Wolfgang Puck restaurant. Um, and it was amazing. And I got tagliatelle pasta, which is just noodles essentially, with freshly shaved black truffles on them. And it was a whole section of the menu that just said black truffles. And you either love truffles or you hate them. If you've ever had truffle fries, you know what that's the taste of truffle. And it's a mushroom, and they're not grown in the US, I don't think. I think you have to import them. And you could get your black truffles on a margarita pizza, pasta, or risotto. And I chose the pasta, and every bite was better than the one before it. And I'm not a big drinker, but we did get a pairing with some Chianti wine, and that was by far my favorite meal, or my favorite bite.
Favorite bite. That was the question. Favorite bite.
Because we had other bites, but that wasn't the first time we had those bites. We had repeat bites.
Yep. Yep. No, I think for you, I think that was maybe your best bite. I would agree with that take. And that was on your birthday too.
What about you?
I think my favorite bite that I personally had was the sashimi.
Yeah, that was also truffle.
Oh, that was truffle too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's sashimi at a restaurant called Catch out in Vegas. Was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. There's more than one. It is a chain. I think there's one like in California, but highly recommend Catch for
The sushi lovers.
sushi. Yeah. Vegas, first time Vegas people, because the aria is super cool.
All right. With us today, we've got Jessica Jurovich, the offensive coordinator, Prior Lake Girls Lacrosse, president of MSLax, a youth lacrosse coach and program leader for PLAY. And somehow, some way, on top of all that, is wrapping up school and becoming an oral surgeon. Jess, welcome to Down the Alley.
Thank you.
What's going on? What's this time of year? What are you doing lacrosse wise, not lacrosse wise? What's kind of going on in your world?
This time of year, we are just doing off-season stuff. A lot of youth clinics for PLAY. We're getting into some free clinics for MSLax, and then I coach club with Minnesota Elite.
Very cool. Very cool. So, with guests, we like to, kind of start by looking kind of backwards. How did you get involved in lacrosse? And what did that look like?
Way back in the day, in 2004, I started playing lacrosse for Prior Lake High School. I played all 4 years of high school, graduating in 2007. From there, I did play for the University of Minnesota my freshman year in 2008. And then I transferred to Minnesota State Mankato, and then I played for them my senior year, which was 2011. When I continued my education and I ended up back at the University of Minnesota for dental school, I did try out for the team again and played for the University of Minnesota again in 2015 and 2016 while in dental school.
Very cool. Very cool. And, coaching wise, what led you to coaching, after or even during, when did you start coaching? Were you still a player, or did that start after you were done playing?
When I was a senior in college, I heard that Prior Lake was looking for youth coaches for their program. So I started coaching 14U at that time. And I've been coaching for Prior Lake at the 14U level ever since. This will be my 15th year with the program.
And when did you start coaching at the high school level?
Oh man, like 2015, 16, around then. I started coaching JV. And then in 2018, I joined the varsity program when Heather Pearson took over as head coach.
So was there a couple of years in there that you first 2 years of dental school that you didn't play lacrosse?
First year of dental school. I didn't play lacrosse, and then the
Were
final
you
year of
and you
dental
weren't
school because
coaching
I
at
had
all
no, I was
during that
coaching.
year
I
either?
was
Oh, you were.
coaching.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I was like,
since
that would have been, I think,
2011.
the only year of your life that you weren't doing anything lacrosse. And I feel like that I was like,
Yeah,
maybe that's when you just like dove back in of like, okay, I'm gonna play again, I'm gonna coach again, but you were still coaching at that time.
correct.
So
Yep.
you ruined that dramatic effect.
I did.
Yeah.
Kind of diving, maybe deeper into the details, of offense. From my knowledge, at least, I'm not on the sideline or, behind the scenes with you and Katie. Are you more on the offensive side of the ball? And if so, um, you know, consistently, Prior Lake has some of the, top offensive players in the state, or some, it seems, year to year. Um, talk about, maybe your philosophy, and, how is it developing, those offensive players, from the young age until, um, they're seniors in high school and beyond.
Well, I think my philosophy has changed a lot over the years. Back when I started coaching, 15 years ago, and I was very young at that point. I feel like the main focus of my coaching philosophy was based off of skill improvement in the players. Now it's kind of developed more into not only instructing the players on individual and team skills, that they need to improve their knowledge of the game, but also encouraging their independent growth as athletes and in areas such as communication and leadership. How does that move into the offensive portion of that question? From that, we kind of ask our players to do a couple different things, especially offensively. We're looking for players that are versatile. So, are you scoutable? Can you surprise your opponent? Those are important things for us on the offensive end. Every player should think about that when they start thinking about, I want to be an offensive player. They need to think about what's going to set them apart from other players, especially if they want to hit that varsity level. And from there, perfect those skills, but then don't get stuck just on those things, right? Because if you are, a crease roller and that's something that you're really good at and you can hit the net pretty easily from that crease roll, you don't want to be easily scoutable in a game where somebody knows that that's the only thing you're going to do every time, right? So you want to be able to switch positions down on the offensive end a little bit and do something from the top of the eight or be a good feeder inside. But just having those versatile skills really helps your game, especially in the offensive end. The other thing that we really ask from our offensive players is to have a high lax IQ. So, can you see the motion offense unfolding in front of you? Are you able to adapt to whatever the defense is giving you? And the reason why that's important for us is I don't really believe in having plays. I feel like that holds your offense back from adapting to whatever the defense is giving you, as that's always ever changing. So instead, we practice different offensive positions and different offensive options. That way, we can see what the different scenarios are that you could possibly come into during a game situation. And then we allow our offensive players to use their judgment and that knowledge that they have to see what will work best on the field during that specific situation.
Yeah, talking on lax IQ, and taking that next step as a player, obviously, to make a high level, varsity, you got to be able to pass and catch, you got to be able to dodge, all those types of things. But to take
Right.
that next step, what are some of those things, that maybe you're doing with the player, and how much does film come involved in that?
Film is very important. Not only your own game film, but just watching other people play. So if you're on a high school team, you're watching, your varsity level team. What are they teaching those girls? How do you adapt to that and build that into your game? But even more so than that, trying to find different things in different situations, whether that's in your own games or not. So you can online find other high school games, you can find college games, see how the offense in those different games reacts to the different situations and the different types of defense that the team is giving you, right? Are they playing a high pressure defense? What does that offense do? Does that work? Does that not work? And kind of visualizing those things before you step on the field will help you when you get on the field and you see those things again.
We've got a couple of questions that, kind of come our way. And the first one is about kind of youth development and kind of connecting the youth and high school programs as much as possible.
I was just
Obviously,
gonna ask that. I was just gonna ask like the biggest things for the girls U14 because we're talking about skill first.
yeah.
What's the biggest thing you think you want the girls to take away from U14? And like not just the girls at Prior Lake, but also just kind of like as a whole, the biggest difference in the game from like the U14 level to any high school level.
Well, one thing I want 14U players to take away from 14U is that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes without making mistakes and getting comfortable doing new things. You're not going to progress to that next level of player. So that's like the number one thing I think coming from youth to high school that those players should be comfortable with. Um, I think that something that makes it easier at Prior Lake or something that's worked well for us is that our high school coaches and our high school players coach our youth. And Heather Pearson, who's our varsity head coach, and I are heavily involved in our youth program. So early on, we're making sure that these youth players are learning the skills and the concepts that will just continue on from the youth program into the high school program. And we really work on building the basics first and then making sure these kids are having fun. If players are having fun in the youth program, they're more likely to come back year after year instead of, deciding that maybe it's not for them. So yeah, we want to be able to make sure that we are getting that buy-in to our program back from the players as well. And then lastly, for youth players all the way up through 14U, keeping their options open when it comes to positions so they don't specialize too early. We don't want our athletes to, think they're an offensive player and they come to tryouts and we're like, try out for defense. And they're like, what? Because there have been many instances where, you come to high school and we're like, actually, I think we see you more on the other end of the field. And that can be a surprise if they've specialized too early.
Another question that kind of comes, our way or my way. And I feel like you're the person to ask with how much school and everything you're doing is, how, especially for younger coaches who are trying to figure it out, coming out of college, maybe coaching high school, maybe doing a little club and youth too. How do you balance school or your job and all the coaching and all the roles that you do? Because I feel like, we've seen, again, some younger coaches, maybe my age and younger, maybe a little older, run into burnout or having issues balancing all the things that, come into coaching.
Right. I think there's a couple different parts to that. The first one being, if it's important to you, you will find time. So, finding time for the things that you love, including coaching, right? So I love coaching. I've always found time for that, even while I was in dental school and oral surgery residency. But to do that, you have to manage your time well, right? So a lot of, okay, when do I have time to study? When do I have time for, self-care and things like that? And just following a schedule really helps with that. If you try to wing it, you can kind of get lost in where you need to be and when. But overall, it also comes down to your support system. So I've been very lucky at Prior Lake to have a very supportive coaching staff, not only within Heather, but Katie, it's been some other people over the years, Megan, Sarah, Brooke, whoever's been in that coaching staff to really make it work. Because when you're doing multiple things, maybe you're in school or you have a job, you can't always be there. And if somebody can help pick up that slack on days when you can't be there and you're helping pick it up on days when they can't, you can really make these things work.
Katie, how important is having a planner during the season? Because I know you're a big planner gal.
I know. You don't use a paper planner. You just use your phone. I think, don't
Yeah, I
you?
use Google. Yeah,
Yeah.
Google.
I mean, like I use that too, but like, I mean, you should have a paper planner too for all your things. It would just be one more thing you had to carry in your car. So maybe not.
Right.
But yeah, and like, I think what's hard is that it all fall. I mean, I guess like now, like it's not like you had like night class, I guess, in dental school. I don't know. But like your residency was
Right.
crazy hours, but work is hard because it's like you're running to get to practice, and even like any coach knows that works and like a normal 8 to 5. traffic can be long or crazy, I've ran late to practice because this, that, and the other thing. So I think it's good to like, especially with the high school, obviously you said like it's good to have your assistant, but like giving the players some accountability, and you're with old enough players that like, I know, and even like in our high school, like by the time you're in high school, by the time you're in like the second, third week of the season, the players should be able to warm themselves up. That it's like, I've even told the girls, because I don't have an assistant coach with the B team. So it's like, I'm like, this is our warm up. We know what we're doing for the first 15, 20 minutes of practice. Like, you even know the first drill we're probably going to do. So it's like, I kind of like giving them that accountability. And quite honestly, in the years that I've been there, you've missed like twice. So I don't know, you've made it work. You might have to leave early. But again, that was like once or twice that you've really actually been called in. And there's only been two times that we've actually needed your expertise at the field. So that's good too, I guess.
Right.
Transitioning to another role, right? So far what we've talked about is probably enough for most people, but you've also taken on, the role of MSLax president. When did you take on that role, and how long you've been involved? And for maybe a listener who doesn't know or doesn't look into the weeds of, what they're signing up for, what is MSLax?
Right. So MSLax is the Minnesota Schoolgirls Lacrosse Association. It's been around for a long time. Up until last year, it was the only youth league in Minnesota. Now we share that with another group. But we really strive to provide an area or a place for lacrosse development in girls youth lacrosse. We want to get as many kids playing as we can, introduce them to the sport, make sure they have a place to play with their community while improving their skills, and again, having fun, right? Because that's what this is all about. We want them to have fun. As for when I became president of this organization, it was last year. So now it's 2025, so I guess a little bit longer than that. It was in November of 2023. But prior to that, I had been the secretary, and I've had a couple other roles in that organization. I've been around in MSLax for 10 plus years. So I have been around for a while. I've kind of just moved around to different positions within the organization.
How did you even like begin like the connection with them? 10 years
I
ago.
couldn't remember fully. I thought about this a little while ago, actually. I don't really remember how I got pulled in. I know somebody said that, oh, the league that we play our games in for youth, they're looking for, some help and some volunteers. And I was like, well, I'll volunteer. And then here we are all these years later. I just really like what our mission is, and that we're trying to continue to grow the sport. And I think that that's important not only for our youth, but for our high school programs as well, to continue to improve our competition and make sure that we're giving opportunities to anyone that wants one.
And so in the last 10 years, like of what you've seen, what do you think has like been the biggest milestone as MSLax?
Oh, I'd probably say the continued growth and the continued improvement in getting other associations or areas involved in the sport. Initially, I feel like it was very Twin Cities, and now we're seeing growth in different areas. Like we have teams, youth teams, whether they play for us or GNLL, up in the Duluth area, down to Rochester, all the way over in Buffalo, Delano, Hutchinson. And then if you go to the east side, we have Stillwater, Hudson, those types of teams. So it's really seen some growth, and I'd like to continue to see that growth and adding new programs in so that it can continue to be something that, we're offering to our youth in the state.
Yeah, no, I think on the girls' side, you guys have done a great job, growing and, developing players, the game, not just on the boys' side, the girls' side has improved so much. Girls are, there's probably more girls, continuing on to higher leagues after high school than even on the boys' side. For MSLax, and I'm sure there's a lot of overlap. What's the vision? The last 10 years has been great. What's the next 5 to 10 years, going to look like?
I'm hoping that we can continue to grow not only like where we are located and where we can find these teams, but increase our skill level too. I think that the East Coast has had a jump on us with, teams playing out there for long before we ever had this sport in Minnesota. And I'd like to see more of our players competing at that level. But that again takes, time and development and really getting people involved and wanting to play the sport.
For everyone else, any challenges that you're running into that do you need board members? Do you need any support? I guess I don't know. Sorry, kind
This
of
is your
fumbled that
chance to
question.
plug.
No,
This
you're
is your
good.
chance to tell the masses we need your help.
We are always looking for anyone that is interested to volunteer. We do have a couple of open board positions that if you're interested in volunteering, we can try to plug you into one of those spots. Or if you want to just help out more as a volunteer, maybe at an event such as a state tournament. But yeah, we're always looking for help. Everything that we do is volunteer. So everyone on our board is a non-paid member to continue the growth of this sport.
Love it. Love it. Got
I
a
had
few.
a question with that.
Oh, go ahead.
And now I've been sick and now I totally lost my train of thought. Okay. A lot of parents obviously jump on as like their local, board member or president or something like that. From your perspective as like MSLax as a whole, like what are like the top 2 or 3 things that someone who wants to start, I want to bring lacrosse to my small community, outside of Monticello, Blue Earth or Big Lake, I think it's called. I think they do have a team actually. Or like spreading from a little bit of these small towns. And they're like, we've got a group of 10 girls and we really want to get started. What are like the top couple things that would be your advice to them? Because I think even as like when we've done a lot of work with associations with 36, and it's bless their hearts, these parents who they're like, I've never played lacrosse, but they're just jumping in and they want to help their kid, obviously. But I guess like these grassroots, what are the things in your experience like help them get off the ground and like stay growing? Because we keep talking about growth, it's like what are the things they need to do to ensure that it's like not only they get off the ground but can continue that growth to have a successful program.
Right. I think number one is recruitment. So recruitment of players. And if you host a try lacrosse clinic or you find free clinics around the Twin Cities area, although that can be a drive for some people, getting your players involved in those things so they start learning the skills. For the recruitment piece itself, you can hand out flyers if you do host an event such as a try lacrosse clinic. Handing out flyers at winter sports or summer sports or whatever it may be. We've had some success with if you make a flyer and you hand it out at hockey games to the parents in the stands or to basketball games to the parents in the stands, just getting that interest because, lacrosse is really made up of a lot of multi-sport athletes. And you can come in from any of these other sports and bring something with you, right? You come from basketball, you're bringing that defensive knowledge. You come from hockey, you have that offensive movement and things like that. So, recruiting those players. I think the next thing is staying up on top of what you need to do from a U.S. lacrosse standpoint. If you go to, or USA lacrosse standpoint, if you go to their website, they have a lot of tips on, how to make that happen as well. And then lastly, get in touch with your local association, such as MSLax, right? We are more than willing to come help you start your program and help you maintain that program. So reaching out to somebody can help with that too. A lot of us do have um, experience, I'll call it, with starting programs from the bottom up. 2 of our board members have kind of followed that role to get lacrosse started in their community or to continue to build it in their community. So, just really reaching out and talking to people who have done it in the past can help build that sport for you and build that level of interest and keep bringing girls into your program.
Great. Great. We got some like kind of rapid fire, more fun questions. You've what's your most memorable coaching moment? You've had big moments, but it might be like some random moment too. What's your favorite coaching moment?
I think that my favorite coaching moment, and this isn't a specific moment, I can give a specific one as well, but my favorite coaching moments are always when you've worked with a player over and over again for a long time on a skill and they finally get it during a game and that look of accomplishment on their face. I'd say that that is my favorite coaching moment is when I see that from these players. Um, if we want to get into a specific moment, I think our first state title win, being kind of a underdog coming into that season a little bit to then winning that state championship, everyone left everything they had out on the field that day, and they really came together as a team to make that happen. And if we want to go a funny moment, um, and this is what a lot of people have said at their end of the year banquet that knew about this, but I've had multiple ankle injuries.
Oh,
And one year after I had surgery on my ankle, Ashton King, um, she definitely shot a ball that was not anywhere near the net and hit me right in the surgery ankle. So yeah, that's made it on the top of a lot of people's lists. There was a lot
Oh
of
my
running that
gosh.
day.
Yeah.
So
um, what's your go-to motivational phrase or advice for players? Is there a classic Jess phrase?
oh, I don't know. I bet there is.
Katie,
Um,
what does Jess say all
I
the
don't
time?
I don't
Nothing come to
know.
mind?
I think it's more like
hmm.
mannerisms and like nuanced. I think she's got very specific ways that she moves about the field that are all very notable. I don't know a phrase.
Yeah, I can't think of one. I bet the players have one.
I
I
bet they
really
would
do.
too. I feel like we say the same things over and over and over in a game, like to each other, but I
Right.
can't think of them right now.
Okay, we'll write that one down.
Besides, we don't do plays, but then your favorite offensive strategy. And I know that's been like
Okay.
we're trying to get away from plays. So I guess yeah, without giving away all the secrets.
I guess not offensive strategy wise, but I would say, yeah, um, my favorite thing on offense is when you get a really good draw control and can bring down the fast break into that 5v4 off the draw. If we come down on a 5v4 off the draw and that defense is trailing, we will find the net. And I think that's one of my favorite things to see as that defense shifts, our girls finding that open player and then getting it in the back of the net.
If you could only eat one meal during the lacrosse season, what would it be?
Chicken tacos.
From the
I'm all about
point,
the Mexican food. The spicier, the better. It doesn't really
but
matter.
you hate guac.
No guac on it though. Absolutely not. But yeah, anything Mexican really. I love Mexican food.
So where are you getting a taco during the lacrosse season?
I mean, I'm not picky. I'll go anywhere from like, what's that place called off of County Road 5? Taqueria La Hacienda, all the way to Taco Bell. Doesn't matter.
Wait,
I
Doesn't
love
matter.
tacos.
Okay, all
where
right.
is Taqueria La Hacienda?
Off of Highway 13 and County Road
We've
5
never
next
been
to
there.
that Speedway. Yeah, no, but you have to get on County Road 5 from 13.
Katie, look
Why
it
have we
up.
And
never
there's a
Let's
been
go
there?
gas
We've
there.
station.
never been there. Why have we never been
Let's
there?
meet there. Let's meet there right after this.
Honestly, anywhere that's open after practice would be great, but everything closes at
That
9.
Right.
that true. What advice would you give to young coaches or players looking to make an impact?
For coaches, I'd say really get to know your players. Every player is different. The way you coach them is going to be different. Some people really thrive off of the straight to the point, while they're doing it, let them know that that's not what you want to see or they should try it differently. But other players they don't respond to that and they would need to be pulled aside and have that moment with you. So if you can learn how your players respond best to coaching, and you can coach them that way, you're going to get a lot further, a lot faster. Um, what was the question again for the players? Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Oh, just like young players looking to make an impact in the game. So, either getting a coaching or whatever. Yeah.
For young players, I'd say to make an impact in a game, the most important thing is to know your role. And what I mean by that is, if you're an offensive player and today is not your day, you're going to net and you're not making goals, right? You're not getting it in there. Maybe your role today is not to shoot, right? Your role today may be to feed or to set your teammates up. Same thing goes for, if you're a player who's not in during this game and you're on the bench, how do you support your teammates from there, knowing that that may be your role during this game?
Before we answer or ask our last
I like
question,
this one too. What do you do to relax and unwind outside of lacrosse and work? It says
Oh,
school, but you're not in school anymore.
right.
You have a lot of time on your hands now
Um,
compared to what you used to have. People know you used to like not sleep, but
don't
now
you
you do.
run
So
before practice in your 10 minutes of free time?
I do like to run. I play a lot of broom ball now, whether that's
oh yeah.
women's league or co-ed, indoor and outdoor. Love it. I'm gonna get back into hockey, which I quit post-COVID. But that's my goal for next year. Just sports and athletics. I just like to burn that energy. So
Before our last question, any upcoming events that you'd like to plug for Prior Lake Lacrosse or MSLax or anything else that you may be a part of?
yeah, so for MSLax, we do have free clinics coming up. They start this Saturday at the Savage Dome from 8 to 9 a.m. There is registration on our website. We do have to register everyone so we can make sure they have a USA lacrosse number, which is required for our insurance. But that is a rolling registration. So if you don't make it today, you don't make it next week. I mean, today. If you don't make it this week, you don't make it next week. You can still register in the middle of the sessions and show up. It is 6 weeks long. So there are 6 different clinics to come to. And again, this is free. We are looking into other options as well. Finding indoor turf time this winter has been challenging compared to previous years.
Really?
As for, yeah,
How do you
I've had
think?
a lot of, I don't know.
Soccer.
I
Just like
have no idea.
more groups,
Yeah, there you
just
go.
soccer. More
Soccer.
Finding a
soccer.
time.
Soccer's taking over the world.
Yeah,
Right. But
it
I'm
already
hoping
has.
to bring some free clinics, hoping to bring some free clinics to other areas as well, not just the South. Other than that, for Prior Lake, PLAY is starting clinics this Sunday. So if you're interested in that, go to the PLAY website to sign up for those.
And I believe you're a listener, so you've probably heard this question. What is your alley? This might be something you're passionate about on the field, off the field. Can be a lifelong thing. It can just be something you're interested in this week. You can kind of take it as seriously as you want. What is
It
Jess's
cannot be
alley?
flossing.
It cannot be what?
Flossing.
What'd you say?
Flossing.
Oh man. I was gonna say oral hygiene.
No.
Oh, you just took it away from me. Let
That
me
was
think real
not
quick.
actually going to be your answer.
I am very passionate about oral hygiene. Please floss. That's news
You would
story
be
that
out of a
came out
job.
several years ago. Was not
If
correct.
people flossed and stopped smoking, you wouldn't have a job. So, kids, don't
No.
floss and stop. Just kidding.
No, the stories that I hear, fireworks are going to keep her employed for like the rest
And
of the time.
motorcycles. And
Yeah.
motorcycles.
I don't think, I think she's going to be all right.
Anyways, your alley. That's
Yeah.
not flossing.
Man. I guess if we're gonna go down the road of advice is my alley, I guess I'd say that just make sure you live every day to the fullest and you're providing something to other people, not just yourself. So if you can do one nice thing for somebody every day, you're helping build a better society. So yeah.
Love it. Jess,
Love
thanks
that.
for coming down the alley with us today. And, for all the listeners, if you've got a little gal who's looking to play some lax, if you need to get connected with MSLax, if you're in Prior Lake, I'm sure you're going to run into Jess at some point. So thanks for coming down the alley with us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to Jessica Jurovich for coming down the alley with us. MSLax president, Prior Lake girls offensive coordinator, has made a huge impact on players and programs all over the state. Appreciate her time, and sharing her story and talking about, especially MSLax, talking about her stories with Prior Lake, but MSLax, very important organization in youth girls lacrosse, and is going to be essential to help with the growth moving forward. So thank you, Jess, for everything that you do. And thanks for coming down the alley. We will be back next week. We got more, special guests lined up. We can't wait. And before we know it, we're going to be doing the section breakdown. So a lot to come. We're just getting started. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. And here we go. Here we go. Thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to get back on the mic here next week.
Are you looking for a dedicated partner for your lacrosse needs? ES Lacrosse has got you covered. If you're brand new to the game, a seasoned vet, or a dedicated lacrosse parent, ES Lacrosse is the go-to partner for Minnesota lacrosse and DTA Nation. Whether you need new gear, a restringing of your current setup, custom uniforms or apparel for your team, or one of their awesome starter sets for your brand new lacrosse player, the selection, expertise, and service at ES Lacrosse is unmatched. You can visit them in store at one of their 3 metro locations in Woodbury, Chanhassen, and Vadnais Heights, or visit them online at eslacrosse.com. It's a great time to be a sports fan. From football playoffs to high school hockey thrillers, the action never stops. Win or lose, make game day unforgettable with Old Southern Barbecue. Sink your teeth into tender ribs, saucy wings, or a mouth-watering brisket sandwich. Do game day right with Old Southern Barbecue. Visit one of their 4 metro locations or get your party catered. Either way, they've got you covered. Old Southern Barbecue, where game day tastes better.